What's going on? This is your brother Bashir Jones, man. Hope and pray all is well. We thank the Creator for another day of life. We thank the Creator for consciousness, to know that we're supposed to thank the Creator, and understanding that ourselves are not the source of the energy or source of anything, really, man. I mean, think about it. Like, how much of us, or how many of us, think original thoughts? I really want you to think about your thoughts. Shit, how can I think about my thoughts? That's interesting. How do you think about your thoughts? We thank the Creator, man. We thank the Creator. We always start off with thanking the Creator because we recognize that without the Creator, we are nothing. We don't exist. So we start off with Him. But yo, how do you think about your thoughts? Just try. And I want you to ask yourself a question. How much of our thoughts are original? Just think about it for a second. Whatever you think about, whatever it is that you're thinking about. Let's say what you think beauty is, or what you think is fashionable, or what you think about God, what you think about religion, what you think about America, what you think about Muslims, what you think about Christians, what you think about blacks and whites in the hood, in the suburbs, whatever it is. What are those thoughts based on? Who gave you those thoughts? Because those thoughts really make us who we are. I think to myself, what do I have any original thoughts? I really don't know. You've all heard the quote that says, there ain't nothing new under the sun. So I wonder, what original thought do I have? Or am I just a continuation of a previous thought? Am I just a continuation, or are my thoughts just a continuation of previous thoughts? How many of you have you were talking and you spoke on something, right? Like, yo, I got this idea, and then you say the idea, and it sound like you're not even trying to be funny. You really are saying the idea like it's yours, and then the person that you sit next to, like, yo, I just told you that. Like, I just told you that. Like, oh, really? You did? Yeah. Media has a way of putting thoughts into your mind without you even knowing it. It's just subconsciously. You don't even know it. Like, how many commercials do we watch, right? And you're watching a commercial and it has nothing to do with what's being sold. Like, you look at this commercial and it's like this woman and man, and they're like going fetching with the dog, and then the commercial be like, you know, if you have herpes, this is the pills that you should be taking. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't see that one coming. I did not think that you was about to talk about herpes with this dog playing frisbee with his owners. Thoughts is put into our mind. You wasn't even thinking about that Snickers bar until the commercial came on. Hungry, why wait? You're like, damn, you're right. Let me go get me a Snickers bar. You wasn't even thinking about it. Music has a way of putting thoughts into your mind through the voodoo-like beat. Why you like this song? I just like the beat. But the song is like Percocet, Molly Percocet. It's like, dang, I don't even know what Molly or Percocet is. But once again, what it does is, in reality, is it makes you feel, or you begin to legitimize and make okay things that are not okay. Which thoughts are truly our own? I really want you to think about that. I want you to go throughout your day and just kind of think about, what are my thoughts? How do I feel about myself? And truly, is it original? And that leads me to this conversation. Recently, Miss USA, she made a comment. I'm sitting here with Zakia. Zakia, how you doing?
I'm well.
You doing well?
Yes, I am.
That's good. That's good. And we're talking about the Miss USA comment. Miss USA, for those who are not familiar, you know the Miss USA pageant. So Miss USA was asked a question of, is healthcare a privilege? And she said that, well, as a government official, healthcare is a privilege. And that those who, to the extent she said, you know, those who have jobs should have the privilege of having health care. What do you think about that statement, Zakia?
Well, I believe the original question also asked, like, did she feel like it was a right or a privilege? And she went on to say that it was a privilege. And I disagree. I think that it is a right because, you know, everyone isn't afforded the opportunity to be employed. So, you know, they may have health problems. They may be going through rough times, and that doesn't mean, you know, your health, it doesn't stop. You can't just be healthy all the time. So to say, you know, well, if you don't have a job, you can't have access to health care, that's insane. Like, unemployment is high all over America. So all these people are just supposed to not have access to health care because they don't have jobs.
Now, do you think that this is a thought that many people have, that people who are unemployed should that it's a privilege for them to have health care?
I mean, it probably is a privilege to have health care, but it should also be a right, because once again, you know, if somebody has a baby and the baby has health problems and they just happen to get laid off, their baby's health problems don't go away. They still need to get, you know, have access to that health care. So it's just kind of like a warped idea that, you know, you just, if you have a job, you should have health care. So if you don't have a job, are you not going to be sick anymore? Like, no, your health still can deteriorate. So it's just unfortunate that a lot of people, obviously, she won, so share that idea.
Do you feel that this is how America views poor people?
Of course. It's like your health isn't valued the way somebody who has money's health is valued. You know, like if somebody has money, they get better health care. For poor people, somebody who may be underprivileged and get Medicaid, the doctor that they go to or the dentist that they go to isn't going to be the same as somebody who's, you know, wealthy. So,
I mean, that makes sense. And that makes sense. More money you have, the better access that you have to better resources. But the problem that I have with this statement, which is a statement that many Americans feel, which is interesting because the majority of Americans are poor. The majority of Americans are in poverty. So it's interesting that she is speaking for a mindset that some of the 1% feel. So it's so interesting when I hear rural white male and females who in many cases are Trump supporters, which is interesting. It's like, how do you, where the majority of people on welfare are white people, like the majority of those who are on welfare are white, and which makes sense because the majority of America is white, right? So it's a higher percentage of white people on welfare than black people. Well, no, not a higher percentage, a higher number of people who are white who are on welfare than black. So it's so interesting when you have people that's from the rural area. You know what I'm saying? Go to places like West Virginia and those mountaineers and white folk living in the mountain. Yo, they dealing with some serious poverty. It's amazing that they can relate to a Donald Trump, who's a rich white man, who speaks the same rhetoric of the blame game. Where a lot of people who are poor whites, who may feel like, yo, I'm the only reason why I'm poor is because these black people. And guess what? There's black people who do the same thing. There's black people who say, I'm only like this because of the Mexicans. Well, I'm only like this because of the Indians. Everybody is playing the blame game, blaming somebody else for their condition. So the statement that she made, which is very interesting, and guess what? Just white people don't feel this way. There's blacks who feel this way too. Blaming somebody else for their situation and their condition. Now, slavery is not, talking about slavery is not playing the blame game. That's a reality. That's a reality. But what we don't understand is that when you don't take care of the least of us, we all are harmed by it. Because guess what? When people don't have health care, what do? We go to the emergency room for a cold, don't we? That boosts up the cost of that boosts up the cost of our medical services. Just like when during the housing crisis, when they went into the inner cities and sold bad mortgages, that impacted everyone. Because why? You can't do that to the least of us and expect for God not to punish you. So, you think that if you harm the least of in our minds, the least, like what? But what is even the least, right? Like, what does that even mean? The least of us. We base that off of what? Finances, right? That's what we base the least of us off of, finances. But what about in God's eyes? Maybe it's not. Maybe they're not the least of us. Maybe they're the best amongst us. I don't know. Not to say that you are the best amongst the people just because you're poor. Because there ain't nothing like a poor, lazy person. Like, if you poor, you should not be lazy. And if you lazy, you should not be poor. And if you arrogant, you shouldn't be ignorant. And if you ignorant, you shouldn't be arrogant. There's things that should not meet in one person, for sure. But in my closing, I want to say that we cannot think that the basics is a privilege. The very basics is a privilege. The basics? The basics? What if I'm in between jobs? What if I have my own business? What if I'm in college? Right? Not having a job is not just the state of the poor. Not having a job, you could just got laid off. You've been working a job for 30 years. What about that? But see, the statement that she made is a statement that in many cases white America agrees with. It's a statement that people agree with. So I wasn't surprised that she won. Because that's what people want to hear. Oh, no, yeah, you want to clap for that. Oh, yeah. Why is it that the black person who can be accepted is the one who is the most forgiving of the condition that we've been put in? That's the one that's most accepted. Like, you accept me if I'm not angry about the shit that you put me through. So now I'm accepted. I can get the jobs because you know what? He's not an angry black man. That's interesting, man. That's really interesting. That now I'm accepted by America's elite because I'm not angry about the condition of my people in this country. So now I'm accepted. But I'm not accepted, and I'm labeled a misfit and angry, and I can't be worked with because I'm upset. James Baldwin said to be black and conscious in America is to be in constant rage. To be in constant rage. Paul Laurence Dunbar, he has a beautiful poem called We Wear the Mask. We wear the mask. So people are tired of wearing the masks. But some of us, in order for us to rise and to grow, to grow higher, we feel like we got to put the mask back on. So I ask you, I ask myself, I ask the Creator to bless us and protect us and guide us. And healthcare is not a privilege. It is a right. It is a God-given right. It's a God-given right. May God bless us and protect us all. Peace.